TV soap news and spoilers say that in the picturesque yet deceptive town of Beyond the Gates, a tempest of lies, betrayal, and hidden truths brews, threatening to obliterate the fragile dreams of Halley and Bill. The couple, once the epitome of love and promise, stood on the precipice of a bright future, their hearts alight with the joy of Halley's recent pregnancy announcement. Halley, glowing with the radiance of impending motherhood, envisioned a life filled with tender moments, laughter, and the unwavering devotion of her husband, Bill, her rock, her protector, her seemingly perfect man. But beneath the polished surface of their idyllic life, a sinister undercurrent of secrets festered, poised to erupt and destroy everything she held dear. Unbeknownst to Halley, the man she adored with every fiber of her being was a master of deception, entangled in a web of immorality and selfishness so dark it would shake her to her core. A fairy tale marred by shadows. Halley's world had once revolved around Bill, a man whose charm and apparent integrity had swept her off her feet. Their wedding day, a grand affair filled with flowers, vows, and the admiring gazes of friends and family, had felt like the beginning of a fairy tale. To Halley, Bill was a knight in shining armor, a partner who promised to stand by her through every storm. But behind the scenes, Bill's actions painted a far grimmer picture. Years before, he had plunged headfirst into a murky conspiracy, binding himself to a pact of silence that would haunt him, and now Halley, forever. His first sin, colluding with Vernon and Anita Dupree, a powerful couple in the town of Beyond the Gates, to bury a scandal so explosive it could have torn the community apart. The secret belonged to Martin, a shadowy figure whose past was cloaked in mystery, and Bill had played a pivotal role in ensuring it stayed hidden. The weight of Martin's secret was a burden Bill carried with cold calculation. Not content to merely conceal the truth, he twisted it into a weapon, blackmailing the Duprees into attending his and Halley's wedding. To the unsuspecting bride, the presence of the influential couple was a mark of prestige, a sign of their approval and a blessing on her union. But to Bill, it was a triumph of manipulation, a calculated move to bolster his status in the eyes of the town. As Halley danced in her white gown, her heart swelling with love, Bill's mind churned with the satisfaction of a plan well executed, his dark deeds buried deep, or so he thought. A deeper descent into darkness. Bill's moral decay didn't stop with Martin's secret. His actions grew increasingly vile, plunging him into a cesspool of betrayal that would horrify even the most hardened soul. He became an accomplice to Ted, a man drowning in the shame of his own indiscretions, helping him conceal a torrid affair with Leslie, a woman caught in a web of vulnerability and desperation. The affair itself was scandalous, but Bill's role in its aftermath was downright diabolical. When Leslie, pregnant and terrified, threatened to expose the truth, Bill unleashed a cruelty that knew no bounds. In a chilling confrontation, he cornered her, his voice low and menacing, and delivered an ultimatum that would haunt her nightmares: abort the baby, or he would rip the child from her arms and sell it on the black market. The threat, dripping with malice, was no idle bluff. Bill's cold eyes and steely resolve left Leslie no choice. Broken and trembling, she fled beyond the gates, leaving behind a trail of tears and a wound that would never heal. Bill's actions were a descent into a moral abyss, a betrayal not just of Leslie but of every value Halley held dear. He had crossed lines that should never be crossed, his heart hardened by the weight of his own ambition and self-preservation. Yet, as he stood beside Halley, smiling for the world, he wore the mask of a loving husband, hiding the monster within. For years, these secrets lay dormant, buried beneath layers of lies, but the truth has a way of clawing its way to the surface, and Bill's day of reckoning was fast approaching. The unraveling. A truth too heavy to bear. No secret stays buried forever, and the cracks in Bill's carefully constructed facade began to widen, threatening to bring his world crashing down. It started innocently enough, a stray letter tucked away in a drawer, a fragment of a hushed conversation overheard in the quiet of the night. Halley, her curiosity piqued, began to dig. Her hands trembling as she uncovered the first threads of Bill's deception. The revelation about Martin's secret hit her like a thunderbolt, shattering the illusion of the man she loved. Bill. Her Bill had conspired with the Duprees to hide a truth so dark it tainted everything. Worse still, he had used that secret to blackmail them. Forcing their presence at her wedding, a day she had cherished as pure and perfect, now stained by his manipulation. Her mind reeled as the pieces fell into place. Each discovery a fresh wound to her heart. She stumbled upon whispers of Leslie's fate, piecing together the horrifying tale of Bill's threats and the terror that drove a pregnant woman from town. Halley's breath caught in her throat, her vision blurring with tears as she imagined Leslie's fear, the desperation of a mother forced to choose between an unthinkable loss and an even darker fate. How could Bill, the man she had vowed to spend her life with, be capable of such cruelty? The image of him, tender, loving, the father of her unborn child, warped into something unrecognizable. A stranger cloaked in lies. The weight of these revelations pressed down on Halley like a suffocating fog. Her hands instinctively cradled her belly. The life within her a fragile spark in the storm of her anguish. The joy of her pregnancy, once a beacon of hope, now felt precarious, threatened by the tidal wave of shock and betrayal. Nights became sleepless, her mind a battlefield of doubt, anger, and grief. She saw Bill's face in a new light, every smile a potential mask, every touch a question mark. The man she had trusted with her heart, her future, and the life of their child had built their love on a foundation of sand, and now it was crumbling beneath her feet. A marriage on the brink of collapse. As the truth unfurled, Halley's world teetered on the edge of collapse. The shock of Bill's secret sent shockwaves through her. Her body and soul strained to the breaking point. The stress was relentless, her heart pounded, her hands shook, and a cold dread settled in her chest. The baby, the precious life she carried, became her anchor, yet even that felt at risk. Could the trauma of Bill's betrayal, the sheer devastation of learning his true nature, be so profound that it endangered her pregnancy? The question loomed like a specter, haunting her every thought. Doctors had warned her to avoid stress, to nurture herself for the sake of the baby. But how could she find peace when her entire world was a lie? Halley faced an agonizing crossroads. Should she confront Bill, lay bare his sins and demand answers, risking a storm of denial or rage? Or should she retreat into silence, nursing her wounds in the shadows, too broken to face the man she once loved? The town of Beyond the Gates watched in hushed anticipation. Whispers of scandal rippling through its streets. Neighbors who once envied the perfect couple now sensed the unraveling, the cracks in their story too deep to ignore. Bill, oblivious or perhaps willfully blind to the storm brewing, continued his charade, but the clock was ticking. The truth, now a living force, demanded reckoning. A future hanging in the balance. The stakes in Beyond the Gates have never been higher. Halley, once a beacon of hope and love, now stands at the heart of a maelstrom, her trust shattered. Her future uncertain. Bill's secrets, his collusion with the Duprees, his merciless threats to Leslie, have unleashed a chain of consequences that threaten to destroy everything. Their marriage, once a symbol of unity, hangs by a thread, frayed by lies and betrayal. The baby, the innocent life caught in this tempest, faces a peril born not of its own making but of a father's dark past. Will Halley find the courage to face Bill, to demand the truth and expose the monster behind the mask? Or will the weight of his sins crush her, driving her to a breaking point that could cost her the child she so desperately wants to protect? The town holds its breath, the air thick with tension, as the fallout of Bill's secrets reverberates through every corner of Beyond the Gates. One thing is certain, the truth has been unleashed, a relentless force that will spare no one. In this gripping saga, the cost of deception may be more devastating than anyone could have imagined: a marriage in ruins, a family at risk, and a love that may never recover from the shadows of the past. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Soap News Spoilers for more updates on Beyond the Gates.